Hi, the magic of technology. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but hopefully you're joining us live for our VE bunting. So we're going to cut to the chase. We've got some really bright colours. We're going for a, oh, that was lucky. We're going for a red and blue themed VE bunting. And what we've been doing is we've been looking at how we can create just different triangles out of simple A4 paper. In fact, we're using card. Josh has cut it freehand, which is quite nice, just straightforward. But if you're older and you like measuring and cutting and being quite scientific, you can divide your A4 piece of paper into different sections. 15 centimetres sections here means you get 2 bunting triangles. And of course, you have a 20 centimetre drop here. You can make your bunting shorter if you want, but by using your ruler and measuring, you can create the exact size. So you get equal sized triangles for your bunting. Josh has done it more freehand. How are yours looking?
If they're really far away, you might be able to notice how bad they are. They're good enough.
They're good enough, absolutely. And so I'm not sure how many triangles do you think make up a bunting?
Oh, there's a nice comment here from VE Day 75 National Virtual Party. We're joining in. Thank you very much for having.
Brilliant.
Nice having you here.
VE Day on Friday, so do check out the amazing stuff that they're doing.
And another comment coming in from Staple Hill and District Royal British Legion, sending Union Jack.
Oh, bless you. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
So on my second attempt of making the VE bunting, I didn't measure it, I just drew around it because it was quicker. So I'm going to use not my left-handed scissors, I'm going to use my right-handed scissors and give it to my trusty assistant to do some more cutting. So I find a good tip when you're making bunting is you want to make the holes early on, especially if you're painting, because otherwise the paper can get a bit soggy. So we're just going to pop a few little holes in the top. I've got this great little single hole punch, but you can use a 4-hole punch as well. So how do you create that amazing Union Jack pattern on your bunting? Well, there are different ways of doing it. We have just uploaded a template that you can download, which makes things a little bit easier. But we're going to have a go at doing it freehand. So when you look at the shape, you'll notice, of course, we've got that classic cross in the middle. So I'm not sure if this will show up on the camera, but basically I'm going to do a nice freehand, I'm going to do it in red, a nice freehand cross down the middle, well, a line down the middle, and a little line across, and then I'm going to fill in the blue bits. So I'm doing my first one in pencil. I might mix it up and do a bit of felt pens as well. So I've got kind of a triangle bit here and a triangle bit here, which is quite nice. And one of the things about drawing is about the negative space. It's not just the space that you see, it's the gaps. And you can create some really good effects by looking at the gaps, which works really well. So, and I'm sure yours will look much better than what I'm doing. But you can see I'm starting to build the structure. So very quickly, I find if I'm colouring in, if I put a piece of paper underneath, then if I go outside of the paper, it doesn't mess up the table, which is always quite a good technique. And I'm obviously doing this very quickly. You can see you start to build up. It's really about structure when you're doing art and design, which is obviously what we're doing at the moment. So of course you can just very quickly build up your pattern. And we have these really cool chubby markers. Well, we did have them. I think we've run out of the work.
We've got about 3 metallics left.
Yeah. So quite nice for doing, if you haven't got them, things like paint sticks work quite well. It's a quick way, it's a nice way of quickly decorating a large area. And obviously that's without any measuring, so you could get that effect quite easily, I reckon. But
there's a little, and then if you want to see the extra red lines here, you can just get a pencil and finish that bit.
This is attention to detail, which we like. So you can, of course, use paint. if you've been able to get any paint, because there's not a lot of paint around in the country at the moment. So we have another way of doing it is to use masking tape, which we do have some that we prepared earlier. It's always good to have a handy helper. So to demonstrate this, I'm actually going to show you with a much larger piece of paper. But while I'm doing that, can anybody tell us, we had a question about the flag, Josh. What was the question about the flag?
I don't know. What was the question about the flag?
I think the question about the flag was, what do the colours represent?
Ooh, good question.
There's a challenging question. So we're going to supersize our bunting.
And quickly, Ian Campbell saying, joining in, fantastic effort, thanking us. Thank you to you as well, joining in. Hoping you're enjoying it, making some nice bunting.
Thanks, Ian.
Nicola Gillespie is saying we're looking very smart.
We try, Nicola.
Sarah Burnett is saying this is amazing because you can join in even if you don't have a printer, and if you do, it just means you don't have to do the measuring.
That's true. And you don't even have to have a ruler, because that's kind of a nice wonky flag. It kind of like a little bit wonky. So with painting, you can, of course, we talked about the negative spaces. You can very carefully mask off the areas in white. But I think you need to be quite clever to do that, because you need to cut and measure. So I'm going to leave that to all of you very clever kids out there. In the meantime, I'm just going to get some paint and I'm going to whack it on and see what happens. So I'm going to get, I've got a nice paintbrush. I have a painting tray. Sometimes you can just use like recycled plastic or paper food packages or lunch boxes. And really, I've never painted in this dress before. So
Have you not?
no.
I've never painted in Dad's jacket either. So
He's hoping. So watch this bit, Duncan. Oh, no, yeah. So make sure your lid is tightly squeezed on for reduction of mess. Very simply, you probably get the idea. Again, if you do on a piece of paper, you're less likely to ruin the tablecloth. So just some nice patterns and stripes.
And while Mum's doing some painting, I will read out some more comments. The Creation Station in Merseyside and Southport said they used wavy scissors on the side of their bunting.
Oh, Vicky, that's a great idea.
Lovely
I
idea.
like that.
And Sarah Burnett has also liked that idea on the comment section.
That's cool.
But did anyone think of the response to the question we asked about what the colours mean in the flag? If so, let us know in the comments as well, please.
That sounds good. So, I've obviously done a bit of red. I'm going to do a bit of blue for my blue. And actually, having a guide does help. Or a scout. You're not a scout anymore. But having a guide, because although we look at the flag, we know this flag inside out. But when you have to describe and think about all of the different sections, it's not something that we know, it's not a picture that we know in detail. So sometimes we have to just remind ourselves. And one of the things about being artistic or creative is about looking. It's not so much the doing, I believe, it's very much about the looking, isn't it? Which means that I can, if it doesn't look quite like I meant, it's
Abstract.
It's creative, yes.
We've got a couple more comments here. Alex Burton's got a love. She's using her sewing machine to make fabric bunting, which I'm sure will look amazing.
Oh, nice. Really nice idea. Yeah. Of course, we're using quite thick brushes here, but you can take a bit more time and be a bit more careful with thinner brushes.
Auntie Franz came up with an idea for what the colours mean.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know how related it is to VE Day, but it's a good attempt. The red is for Liverpool and the blue is for Everton. So that must be why there's more red than blue.
There you go. That's a scout if ever I met one.
And Zach and Natalie are watching from Hampshire and they're colouring printed ones, which is lovely to hear.
I think the printed one sounds like a good idea. Actually, a really nice idea would also be to do, instead of using paintbrushes, you could use fingertips. Probably not in your dad's jacket, but you could use fingertips, fingerprints for the blue sections. Of course, once that's dry, you can use the other side, But it depends whether you're showing it inside or outside. So if it's inside, then I suppose you only need to do one side.
And here, if Mum hole punch before painting, it might make it easy to hole punch here, but we've demonstrated why. You can do it both ways.
Yes, that's a good top tip to do, as I demonstrated earlier and then forgot. Hole punch your flag before.
Claire Lyons saying she's going to be dressing up for a tea party on Friday, like we're wearing today, which is nice. And then Alex Pertins said she's going to put her hair into a Victorian roll.
Oh,
Very
I
festive.
tried. What did they used to use in 1945 to make their hair fix? Because I just used soap a minute ago and it didn't work that well. But
Looks great.
I think they probably had hairspray. I'm sure they probably did. What other things do they have in the 1945s that
You don't use anymore?
we don't use anymore? Yeah. Yeah.
Let us know what you think.
Yeah. So I could carry on making this one and then have a nice stream of flags. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to show you two other little ways of creating your bunting. So as somebody mentioned that they've downloaded the template, which is on our website. I think I'll put the link on our Facebook. If you'd like to choose your colour of scissors,
I'll put these away from you. So
I think that's a good idea. We've
Stop
got red or
picking
blue
up.
scissors being very... So if you'd like to have a go at cutting that, you'll see here we have a slightly different way of attaching the bunting. We have a flap for that one.
we have got a couple more comments.
Yeah.
So Auntie Fran is saying they use lard, which we don't really use anymore.
No.
It's true. Anne Cooper's come up with a couple ideas. Stuffed tights for your hair and hairspray.
Oh, stuffed tights.
Stuffed tights. What?
What would you use stuffed tights for? Just before we move on to some other bunting, there's a really nice way of colouring in. Once you have your template, like this, that Josh is cutting out, I really like using a ruler to do colouring in with. I know it sounds a bit strange, but I don't know if you can see this, Ollie, if you can catch this. You get a pencil and you hold the ruler really tight next to it and you push really hard against the pencil, against the ruler. I don't know if you can hear that sound. And you get really nice, solid, but really clean lines on your colouring in. If you want to have clean lines. Of course, you can colour in outside the lines too.
Got a couple more comments here quickly.
Yep.
Karen Lane is saying they're going to have a social distancing street party in Front Gardens.
Oh, in Guernsey, that would be lovely.
Alex Perton saying you roll the hair over the tights to stick it up.
Oh,
never thought about that.
interesting. Now that's a way to do it, yeah.
And John Wilkinson's watching from New Zealand.
Hello, Johnny. Good to have you here.
I did cut one out.
That's good. Would you like to cut out another one? Because then we'll have two.
Yes.
This is good. So you'll notice this design has got a flap, whereas this one has got hole punches. So there are different ways of attaching those. So I'll just show you those different methods. With the one with the flap, which Josh is cutting out, you can get some ribbon. We really like this ribbon, it's ever so pretty. But you can just use string and a bit of double-sided tape, because you can't go wrong with double-sided tape. We use this one called Easy Lift because it's easy to lift. So you simply just take your double-sided tape, pop it onto the flat part of the bunting, peel it off. It could be rather, no, it is easy to lift. But before you seal it, measure where you want to hang your bunting, how much ribbon you would like. And then you pop the ribbon under the flap and literally seal. So this does still give me a little bit of give, but it's quite hard to, if you don't put the ribbon in first, it's quite hard to thread it in later. But that's quite nice and tidy. And of course the flap is the right shape, so it just sits quite nice, quite nice, that one.
is a nice one. It might be easy to colour it in before
Yes.
sticking the ribbon on, but
Colour that in.
we didn't have much time to colour it.
No. And so, when do we put the ribbon in, Josh?
Before
Before.
we close the flap.
That's it. So we do that. I'll leave Josh to do that. When you've just hole punched your paper, which is cool as well, then it's slightly different. What you need to do then is thread your string. You can thread ribbon, but we often find ribbon is a little bit tricky, but we have this curling ribbon, which is quite nice on presents. You know, when you're giving people gifts and birthday presents, because it curls. So you can use ribbon, which is quite nice. And obviously you just thread it, or you can use string. You thread it through.
I can wonder if anyone can see the deliberate mistake I made here.
Yes. There are skills in bunting. So here's one not to make earlier. I like that. Did everyone see the what do you call it? Deliberate mistake.
Deliberate mistake.
Yes, that's interesting and truly creative. The creative genius is flowing out. So this one slides in and out. So now we could demonstrate just how difficult it is to put the ribbon back in.
That's what I wanted to do anyway.
Yes. So this will be, you can't beat a creative challenge. And so this other technique which you may find just relatively simpler. I forgot to say in the instructions, make sure that the picture is pointing forward. If you want it to look like that, you might not want it to. It just depends on, and you might be doing bunting for the window. So you might want to do double flags. Or one flag for you, one flag for them. So obviously you can see, you can start to build up the bunting for your display. So I think we've got time just to show you this last fantastic outdoor bunting activity, because we do use this a lot in the Cressel house, which is our house. So what we have is we have a tray of water, and those of you who are watching our live will probably imagine and can guess what's coming up now. So then we get a piece of acetate, which is basically a piece of plastic, and we cut it into a triangle using the red scissors. How did you manage to rethread that?
Yeah, this is a quick side note. This is as hard as she was describing.
Yeah.
I've got to about here, and I have given up.
Right.
But
what suggestions have people got for Josh to be able to thread the ribbon through a bit more? I have an idea.
I have an idea.
Hard straws. Where are paper straws?
In toolbox.
Yeah, we've got a toolbox with everything in it. A pencil?
Pencil.
A pencil. That might work. A knitting needle. Lots of knitting going on. Other things they did in the 40s and 50s. Well, they certainly didn't go on the internet.
Ta-da!
Ah.
I think I've done it the wrong way again, actually.
So I have my badly cut triangles. I don't know if you can see that. Just before we go, I'm going to use, I really love these Marabou inks. Make sure the lids are on when you shake them. That looks fantastic, Josh Cressel.
There we go.
Top of the class today. Nice. And of course, when they're decorated, they're going to look really smart. There is obviously the more homemade look. Make, do and mend was big in the 40s, wasn't it? So in the meantime, I'm going to start shaking these Marabou inks, and I'm going to drop them into the water while Josh reads out some more comments.
Alex Purton came up with a good idea for me to use a safety pin at the end with some elastic and just pull it through, which is a good idea.
That is
Would
a
definitely
great idea. I like that.
What I did do, I just got a pencil and just shoved it through, and the ribbon managed to catch onto that.
That's good.
John Wilkinson says it looks fab with all my jeans. Thanks to Mum and Dad for those. And Natalie Lone is saying, is it a good idea to laminate the flags to make them stronger?
That is a fantastic idea. And also, who's that, Natalie? And if you do that, Natalie, of course, you can then use them outdoors, which will work well. Especially, I don't know where you are at the moment, but it's raining cats and dogs in Devon today.
Yeah.
So,
like Emma Winterbourne once just said, the weather has been a bit dubious. So I think laminating them is a good idea if it's going outside.
I think so. I also think possibly you could do rainbow flags, of course. It depends on your focus. Maybe we do Union Jacks this week, maybe rainbow flags next week, who knows. So, I put some of the marbling inks in here. I haven't splashed them too much in because I think I only got a few drops on my dress. But so now Josh is going to drop the hole punch. I'm going to hole punch it first. See, I learn eventually. So, 2 little hole punches. And then we're going to drop that. I don't know if we can see that clearly, Ollie. We're just going to pop that on. 1, 2, 3. If you get an air bubble, you just tap it.
Nice and gently.
Nice and gently. Gently-ish. Don't flick. You can flick at home if you want to. Just don't flick if you're wearing your dad's jacket. So we're going to move that to one side. We're going to lift.
Oh, should we say what the colours of the flag actually mean before we...
Ah, yes. So the flag combines 3 older national flags. The Red Cross of St George is the first one we put on. The white is of St Andrew for Scotland. And the red is for St Patrick to represent Ireland. That is nice.
I think the blue
What about
is
the
also
blue?
Scottish. Huh?
About the blue.
Blue, I think the blue is also for Scottish.
Yeah, I think the blue, actually this is written wrong. The blue is,
The blue and the white together.
yeah, good shout. So we're just going to pick up our flag. We're going to use forks today. Quite interesting. So you can just use your fingers, and suddenly you can see we have a lot of blue and red, but you can put behind white. Okay, it's not your traditional Union Jack, but of course it's creative. And when you're spending time at home and you want things to play around with, bit of ink, bit of oil, you can do it with foam, shaving foam and food colouring. You can get some really nice flag effects. And to see some of those ideas, look back on some of our YouTube and our Facebook for other types of marbling effects. So I think they would look quite nice. And also, we do have them in our garden at home. They do stand up to the weather really nicely. So if you haven't got a laminator, or you have, you can laminate these, or just put them up in the garden. A bit of a different take on your... and of course, I think if you put it this way as well, you can probably print them.
Karen Lane and Alex Perkins saying they love the marbling inks as well.
Yeah, we love the marbling inks.
Yes, we do. Emma Winterbourne saying she's going to stick them along the top side of the inside windows. That's a nice idea.
Nice.
Sharing with everyone. John Wilkinson saying, that's clever, Sarah.
I know. Amazing.
Hannah's also loving the marbling effect.
Oh, that's cool. So we would love to see your bunting, PE bunting, whether it's using these ideas or other ideas. Obviously the celebrations start on Friday. It's a bank holiday. Who'd have thought it's a day off? Enjoy whatever you get up to. Do share it with #CreationStation. Other things we've got going on in Creation Station. We do have a Guinness World Record attempt with some collage activities, don't we, Joshua?
Yes.
Joshua.
Yes, I'll get them.
So you can collage a thank you to the NHS, collage a VE Day. There's been some brilliant ones. Alex Burton, I loved your VE Day collage. Upload them to, here's one that we made earlier, a simple thank you to the NHS on ourcreativeface.com. You can collage anything really and enter this Guinness World Record attempt just to show the creative face of Britain during these difficult times. Other things we have going on, we have some online classes and we send you the craft packs for free. So just Google, visit our website and find out what's going on. We'll also keep sharing free ideas, free content and things to inspire you and yours so you can get through these difficult times in the most creative and fun ways possible. So thank you for watching. Thank you for joining the fun. And thank you for Josh and Ollie and Duncan for making this very possible. Take care, look after yourselves, keep safe. Bye bye.